What's up? Welcome back. Appreciate you listening yet again. So I had a few thoughts. I heard this story this weekend, basically that reminded me of Steve Jobs' like dot collection story, right? And he sort of likens our experiences in life to putting dots on a graph or on a map, right? And our job is not necessarily to collect the dots, but to collect the dots, and that at some point certain dots that you never thought were related to one another may draw this beautiful picture and turn into being the connection that was needed for innovation and some magical thing, right? Well, so I heard this story and I came in a little late, so it might be famous. I don't know where it came from. It might be a really great story that people know, and I'm just ignorant. But basically, it was, um, this guy loses his horse, runs away. His mare runs away, and the neighbors say, "Oh, what bad luck! I'm sorry to hear that." And he's like, "Well, maybe not. We'll see." Right. A few days later, the mare comes back with a whole bunch of wild studs. They go, "Oh my gosh, what luck you have. That's such a fortunate event. Your mare returned with extra horses," right? And he says, "Yeah, maybe not. We'll see." Well, his son is out there breaking one of the new horses and gets bucked off, breaks his leg. And the neighbor says, "Whoa, you're so unlucky. Your son broke his leg." And, he says, maybe not. We'll see. The military rolls through town drafting people to go to war. They don't take his son because he has a broken leg. And the neighbors are saying, "Wow, what luck you have." he It's lucky that he broke his leg. They didn't take him. He says, "Yeah, maybe not." Right. Only time will tell. The point of this story is that only time will tell what things in our lives are going to be positive or negative, or maybe it's both, right? Just like breaking a leg is not typically seen as a positive event, right? If I'm not crazy, but it may have positive implications down the road. um, your horse running away is usually a bad thing. Brings home free horses. I mean, there's weird things, and that story, of course, maybe doesn't apply very well since the majority of us are not, horse farmers or whatever. But um, in my own personal life, I had the injury story that makes a lot of sense. It's really interesting. So my brother, my older brother, is 3 years older than me. He was a senior in high school, and he's not built like me. I'm 6'2" and fairly thin, 200 pounds, right? But he's probably 3.5 inches shorter than me, and always has weighed like 15, 20 pounds more. Muscular. He's a pretty stout guy, very quick off the line in track and as a running back. And so his senior year of football, he was just tearing it up in practice, preseason, and looking very, very much looking forward to the season. Well, in practice, about a week before the first game or less, he broke his collarbone, broke his clavicle, snapped in a couple places, and so of course he's sidelined. Well, I was a freshman at the time. So I played the JV game that weekend. And then a few days later in practice, I ruptured my spleen. Go over on the sideline. The coach is poking around in my stomach. He goes, "Well, I think you pulled some ab muscles," right? So I'm just laying there on the sideline and in pain. And it's like contracting, almost like what I assume it's like to have contractions of birth. It would like come and go, and it's just all kinds of pain. And I'm just kind of laying there making weird jokes and in a lot of pain. And so eventually my brother standing there on the sideline, and he knows me and my character, right? And he just goes, "Man, you're not right. Let's go." And so he kind of has some guys drag me up, and we walk across the field, and they push me up into his big jacked up Bronco, and he takes me home. And my mom immediately recognized that I was not well and runs me to the emergency room. And sure enough, had a ruptured spleen, was in critical condition, and spent a few days in the hospital. And so oddly enough, the day I got home from the hospital, my dad had gotten his thumb smashed in the gate by a bull and popped the end of his thumb like a zit, basically. So, I mean, 3 down within about a week, and my mom was the only healthy one. It was quite the event. So anyway, I was sidelined for a long time. I was ordered by the doctor not to get my heart rate up. No jumping, no running, no exercise whatsoever. So I stayed home from school for like 3 weeks, if I remember correctly, and couldn't do any of the physical activities that I enjoyed. And so I had a guitar sitting under my bed from when I was younger, got one for Christmas that I never learned to play. And so here I am, 14 years old, decided to learn how to play the guitar in all this downtime I had, right? Well, learning to play the guitar has turned into such an amazing thing in my life. I mean, I had a band for a while and we had a ton of fun doing that. Now it's like kind of my stress relief when I've had a stressful day and I just need to kind of reset, come play the guitar for a minute. I love recording and writing music, and I've taught my kids and they all play the piano and they're learning other instruments. And so it's like, it's become this lifelong source of joy that I wouldn't have had I not ruptured my spleen. But I may not be alive if my brother hadn't broken his collarbone. So you never really know what your experiences are going to turn into. I'm reading this book called Be Where Your Feet Are by Scott M. O'Malley. He was the president of Madison Square Garden Sports, and then eventually at another time the CEO of the 76ers, and he's had a pretty impressive career in sports. And at the time, he says that his job at Madison Square Garden was his dream job. He wanted to stay forever. And after a few years, he got fired. And he was devastated, and he wanted to make a quick comeback and say, you know what, screw you guys. I'm better than this. I can do better. I'm going to get a bigger, better job, and this is going to be awesome, right? And one of his wise friends basically said, dude, don't be tempted by that. Take some time. Go spend some time with your family. So he had enough money to sort of be fine without a job for a while, right? And so they went to Europe for like a month. They did all these great things. And it was during that time that he realized he was not as well connected in the moments of his life as he would like to be. And so during that trip, he became so connected with his family and in the present, in the now, that he had this kind of realization that has turned into a more joyful life moving forward. Even though he was very successful and had a good family, he wasn't as well connected to those moments with his family and enjoying the things that were happening. And it was getting fired that sort of did that for him. So now he's got his other, his new really amazing job, but when he's at work, he's at work. When he's at home, he's at home. He's not trying to answer emails and calls in the middle of dinner and stuff like that. He's got more balance to his life, right? I mean, there's a variety of different things. Steve Jobs fired from from Mac at one point, Apple, and then started another company that he then sold to Disney called Pixar. And then he got hired again to his own. Like, you don't know what your experiences are going to bring. Some of them that feel like losses or hurt or injury turn into some of the most valuable things in your life to help you make an impact in your own life as well as others. They may turn into innovations. They may turn into new hobbies and passions and relationships. All kinds of amazing things happen just because of experience. So when things seem blue, try to remember that. Try to remember that, you know what? Experience turns into opportunity. And I'll leave you guys with that one. And I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please like this, share it, and keep coming back. We'll talk to you soon.